So how can you consistently check?
Hello.
He's still having that.
So, okay, so now since all of you have been through the presentation, and obviously after long deliberation and training I have the results with me, but you have to be patient and anxious and jittery and nervous for some more time. So while we get to the reason for all of you to having come here, I'd like to take the opportunity to invite the judges one by one so that you are more guided and made more knowledgeable and provide some guidance as to what you could have done better or whatever the case might be. So maybe starting with Prasum.
Very interesting set of presentations, and post the presentations we had very interesting round of discussion. So it's pretty much took us a lot of time to come to the final decision. I think few generic comments which we all discussed, and I guess my colleagues will add to some of those. I think one very basic on the presentation. I think maybe it was told to you that you have all these slides in the format which you need to have, but to go through 40 slides or 35 slides in 10 minutes, as a judge, I don't even get a chance to absorb a little bit of data from the slide before I have to move forward. Frankly, it doesn't help. So unless the format is such, I don't know. But otherwise, if it is not, I would have wanted a much more focused presentation. All the stuff on CSR and all, frankly, as an investor, I don't care. For Daleka, you can have, and before, second is when you make comments on corporate governance, please be very, very careful. Please be very, very careful. Okay, because that is second point, I think, desist from making Bollywood statements. If you don't have the data to back up something, please don't make such statements. Because the job of an analyst is to actually go into the depth of it. And only if you have data to substantiate something, do that. Third, in some presentations I felt, some of the comments which were made by the participants were as if verbatim uttered by the management themselves. Okay? As an analyst, your job is to be cynical. You can look at 3 of us, we are very cynical. As a fund manager, as an analyst, you have to be very cynical about any statement which the management gives you. Maybe they're right, maybe they're wrong. But I think it doesn't make sense to just take that statement at face value. Do some work, do some analysis. It's never possible to fully find out the truth. But you'll always get an idea. I think I'll leave it at that. I think Naren will have far more points to give you guys. Thank you so much.
I'd like to call upon Mr. Jayesh to facilitate on behalf of IAIP a small token of appreciation. Mr. Naren.
One is I broadly fully agree with what Prasun said. I think what has happened is we look at history a lot as fund managers, and we see history repeats itself. And much more dwelling into history has helped us a lot. We may have missed opportunities, but we avoid sometimes big mistakes. And I don't know whether I think, for example, I think Union Carbide has become everyday, for example. I don't know whether people know that, but that is the thing. So somewhere we have seen that whatever happened between 97, 98, a lot of it has happened just now. The companies which went into deep trouble between 98 and 2002-03, they again got into trouble. So I think what has happened to people like us who have been in practice is that we become cynical, we become skeptical, we don't trust the managements, and we look at history. So that I guess is what I can tell you as my biggest learning, which I would say is very useful to all of you, because there is something called cycles which keep happening, and in this world of too much information, it is behavior and temperament which is very, very important, because data has become much more democratized. So I think be aware of that area. And I think, when people use things like DCF so easily, in real life, I think all the three of us as judges will tell you, is impossible to create a DCF in most companies, except maybe something like a Colgate. And even those kind of companies, how you look at Patanjali, we don't know. Forget other companies. So some of the valuation models that you people are using like DCF, in real life we are incapable of preparing DCF after so much of years of experience. So I think I'll broadly say that we require one, we don't trust managements what they tell us. So in general, I think you are focused on what management say, and I would say that part of it is less important to us. And I would say be skeptical, recognize cycles, and be always, kind of cynical. I think it helps you to lose less money, and if you lose less money, you always make money in equities. That's it.
I request Mr. Jayesh to please felicitate Mr. Ganesh.
Thank you, guys.
Mr. Pankaj.
I think all the teams were really incredible. It's really nice to see, all the young people so enthusiastic and making such good presentations. So that's very nice. Marin and Prasanna has given you some insights. I think the more important point is, it's a good beginning for all of you all. But I'm sure you can do much better in terms of the rigor of analysis when it comes to the understanding businesses and the financial analysis. But nonetheless, it's a good starting point. Also, what's also important is, some of you will probably get into this industry, and it's very important to always keep in mind that at some point of time, some of you or maybe all of you will have a very significantly important role to play, whether as an analyst or a portfolio manager, where you will be making a significant influence. And this business is all about fiduciary responsibilities, whether as an analyst or a portfolio manager, because you manage significant amount of money, or as an analyst when you rate companies, you have a significant fiduciary responsibility. So it's important to be far more rigorous and probably far more careful or cynical, as they said, in terms of your analysis, because at the end of the day we need to understand that is one of the most important thing, if you see, apart from everything else which matters in the business or in the process of wealth creation, is how prudent any manager has been in terms of his capital allocation. Because at the end of the day, it's a business of business to create cash flow, but it's the business of investor to allocate that cash. Companies, even with great businesses who misallocated capital, have destroyed investor wealth. And even companies in some of the most difficult industries, if they have made judicious capital allocation decisions, they have created enough wealth for investors. So capital allocation, whenever you look at a business, apart from everything else, try to look at how prudent the management has been in terms of their capital allocation judgments or decisions over the last 5, 10, 15, 20 years. That's very important. Also, corporate governance is something which is very important, and more so in context of India, where laws and regulations are very loosely applied, and we use this Indian context of jugaad and all of that. So, but when you come to investing, you essentially, investing third-party money. So you have to be far more, careful in terms of judging people based on their track record and how fair they have been in terms of their governance standards and so on. So I think these are some of the things which also, I'll just quote Peter Lynch. He said, if you can't explain an idea in 4 simple words, then don't waste your time. So some of the most successful business, if you see globally or all over the world, have been something which have been explained in most simplest terms. So it's important for you as an investor, when you're looking at long-term value creation, to look at businesses, the simplicity of business, and how, where's the moat in those businesses. And whether does that business have a competitive advantage, and whether that competitive advantage is sustainable for a long period of time, where no one else can catch up with them, and which will essentially allow them to generate profits higher than superior return on capital employed, and what is business doing? Is the business reinvesting enough into the, management reinvesting into the business enough to protect that moat or sustain the competitive advantage? So these are some of simpler things, unfortunately, as Warren Buffett has said, investing is a very simple business, So he said it's meant for people with average IQs. If you have IQ more than 120, then you don't belong to this place, If any of you have IQ which is 140, 180, then probably you should go into some other field, you're meant for doing better things in life. It's meant for those average kind of people, because people who have a superior IQ, unfortunately do not do well in this business, Because it's a very simple business, but unfortunately the problem with most simple things in life is they're very difficult to practice. So investing, unfortunately, is a very simple business. It's meant for people with average IQ. It's not a business or a game of intelligent people. It's more a game of discipline and approach to it, kind of thing, So with that, all the best to all of you guys.
I will request Mr. Vidu, who is the head of India CFA Institute office, to please felicitate Mr. Pankaj.